Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Apologetically Me. I am Maggie,
I am Wanda.
and we're here with a part two from last week's episode. This time, Maggie and Wanda are of age. We're going to be talking about university. We're going to share some advice with you guys. We're going to answer the internet's questions, and we're going to play a fun game of truth or lie. So, before we get started, Wanda, tell the people what you got going on.
Nice. So, back on the train of show recommendations, I started watching Ginny and Georgia on Netflix because Netflix did a great job recommending it to me. And it said it was number 2 in Canada. And I'm easily persuaded by popularity, I guess. I don't know what that says about me.
You
But
sheep.
so the show's filmed in Canada, more specifically Southern Ontario, in this town called Cobourg, Ontario, which is just east of Toronto, which is so cool because they feature a lot of local Canadian actors as well, actors and actresses. And the show touches on a lot of different issues that are going on, like it's very pro LGBTQ plus. It's very like feminist driven. There's a very diverse cast as well, and like the Asian character is or the Asian characters are not just like side characters or there for the laughs. They're more of like they play like a good role. Like they might be secondary, but they still play like there's a point to them being there, and it's not because they're Asian and they're not weird in any way that like make them just like a joke, which is amazing to see.
Asian plural characters.
Yeah,
People of
yeah.
color. We love it.
Honestly, a really good show if you can put yourself back to when you were 15 and thinking about all the things that I guess you struggled with, which is very like relevant to our last episode as well because she like really wants to be popular. She's never really had friends before. This is Ginny, the daughter. She's 15 years old. She's moved around all of her life. But the best part is, like, it's a very dark show as well. Like, dark, not in like Riverdale dark, but dark where there's like plot twists. Like, similar to something like Dead to Me, where there's like a very, it's like almost like horror, thriller driven backstories and everything.
I was against this show because of what Taylor Swift had said about it, or because they had that one line that was like, "Oh, you go through more exes than Taylor Swift does." And Taylor Swift, like in for International History Women's History Month, she was like, "Oh, like can't believe like Netflix would do this. You guys like have my documentary on there. You guys have like my stuff on there. You guys are like bashing me. This is so random. Like Happy Women's Day, I guess." So I was like, "Yeah, we stand Taylor Swift. We're not gonna watch this show." But then Wanda started talking about it, and anything Wanda likes, I tend to like too. So now I guess we have to watch it.
I didn't even put two and two together until when I mentioned it to you yesterday that you told me about it. But I think it might be part of her character, Ginny, the daughter, because there are parts of the show where she really does kind of shame her mom for like a sex positive show. Like she does kind of like slut shame her mom. I think that quote comes from her because there are like she does like narrations at the beginning and the end of each episode, and she does like I don't know, it just feels like she's so pro feminist, like why does she shame her mom so much? Kind of thing. So it's like I don't know if it's her character that's hypocritical or if it's just like the writing that is bad. I'm hoping like there's a point, there's like a reason why she's so like I guess conflicted in what her thoughts are.
Yeah. I mean, resentment. Also, you're 15. Remember, when you're 15, you're a shitty person.
Yes. Okay, Maggie, what is your update for this week?
So I finally watched that documentary, The Social Dilemma,
Mm.
and like some background, like I am very into social media, like I like pop culture, like I know all the trends and stuff. But I think the big difference is like why I don't let it control my life is because like I like turn off my notifications. I check it when I want to check it. The stuff I have is on private. Only recently like my Twitter is public, but like I don't care about like likes or retweets or views, stuff like that. Like I'm very like I'll do whatever I want. If I'm going to post stuff, it makes me happy. Why are you giving me the look?
Except for the podcast.
Except for the podcast because like I have goals there, but like for my own personal stuff, I don't have any goals. Like I think my Twitter is the best thing I've ever done. Like if I were to be proud of one thing in my life, it's my Twitter account.
God, I hope you
Um
never have kids.
I think I'm like generally very good with social media. Like I don't let things get to me or likes or views or whatever like that. So I'm like, yeah, like I have complete control over social media. No big deal for me. Like I post stuff when I want to and I don't care if anyone likes it. Um, but when I was watching The Social Dilemma, this guy was like, "Oh, I spend like half an hour on screens, like it's not that long." And I was like, "Yeah, okay, like I maybe an hour or 2. That's not bad." And then he looked up his screen report and his was like 2 hours and 50 minutes, and I was like, "Oh, that's not bad." And then I'm watching with my friend Prabi and he was like, "Wait, 2 hours and 50 minutes is a lot. Like, do you know how long that is? That's like a super long movie. You're spending that long on your phone. That's intense." And I was like, "Oh, like I'm probably around that mark too." And I went to look it up and I'm at 10 hours, I think, on an average day. So I'm like, "Oh shit. That is a lot of screen time." I thought I had control over my stuff. Clearly, it has control over me. I am having a midlife crisis right now. Um, I don't know how to change my ways. I might take to courier pigeon. I have a lot of lined paper.
I think it's just important to note here before you go out with pitchforks for Maggie that she doesn't really use her computer that much. Like, she's not like a normal person who watches like Netflix or like whatever shows on her laptop, or she does things on her laptop other than for like actual work. So like everything she does is on her phone. Like she'll be playing Candy Crush while watching a movie in the tiny little like screen and screen box on
Did
her
you
phone.
know?
And that's why she has like 10 hours of screen time on her phone. Like I don't think anyone spends as much time as Maggie does on her phone.
Because my
And
laptop is very shitty, as a
yeah,
disclaimer. I can only use Microsoft Word or Spotify on it. But then I'm also like, what's so wrong with screen time? Like, what else? I don't have any responsibilities. I mean,
your
I do, but
eyes.
like, fuck my eyes. Like, whatever. They'll have like fake ones for me to use in the future, anyways. Also, I am actually going a little bit blind, but it's fine. It's like from where I sit when I watch TV, I'm like, I cannot see anyone's face right now.
Oh my god, you're nearsighted. That makes so much sense.
Oh, what is that supposed to
It
mean?
means that you can only see like if you're farsighted, it means that you can only see things like clearer when they're far away. If you're nearsighted, it means like you see things like you can only see things when they're close to you and not things that are far away.
Yes, but what does
So,
it mean by "This makes so much more sense now"? What does
because
that mean?
your phone's a small screen, right? So you always have it very close to your face.
Oh,
So and you're
yes, yeah,
staring at
yeah.
this like tiny object, right? So it's like your eyes are being strained versus like staring at something like a TV, which is like farther away at a distance. So you should probably get your eyes checked out.
So I did this to myself.
Yeah.
I actually do have glasses, but I don't know where I left them. And at this point, I'm like, "You know what? I look stupid with glasses on."
Um, and you drive all the
So,
time, don't you?
yes, but I only drive in, like, my city, and I know, like, where everything is. Like, I don't need, like, to see the street
I don't
names. I
need to
know.
see to know. I don't need to see to drive. Famous last words from Maggie.
Have it on my tombstone. I don't need to see. Okay, what's your beef or crush of the week?
So I'm gonna actually do both this week because I really want to keep talking about the show. Um, but also very topical right now is that so my beef of the week is daylight savings and the fact that it doesn't have like daylight savings and daylight unsavings. Like they're both just called daylight savings, right? But that's not my actual beef. The actual beef is like the fact that you lose an hour in March because I usually go to bed pretty late, so around like 1 to 2 o'clock. And last night at 2 o'clock, it suddenly became 3 o'clock. So then I suffered with the anxiety of going to bed too late, and then I couldn't sleep. And they say that daylight savings causes more car accidents, like within like the first week. It causes more like disorientation, all of that stuff. So it's like, why do we even have it? Why not just keep time the same? I don't like having to put the clocks back or forth. You know, like it's just too much effort.
I agree, but also I like having a lot of daylight. Like, I'm a very, like, vitamin D person. Like, if the sun is out, I'm out. Mm.
But my second thing, my crush of the week, is one of them is Felix Mallard, who plays Marcus in Ginny and Georgia, and the other one is Raymond A. Black, who plays Joe. And like looking at him, you might not think that he's that attractive, like right off the bat. But if you watch the show, both of them are very attractive characters. One's like the bad boy, and the other guy's like the sweetheart. I'm not gonna tell you which is which. You'll figure it out very quickly.
I'm sure I can figure it out when looking at them. Do you generally like the bad boys?
I do.
I think I don't, but
I,
it depends. It's a case by case basis.
like it's just like the chemistry that is there. Like it's just they just make it. There's so much tension, you know, and I like
Yeah.
that. Versus
Uh,
like the good guy that just doesn't have like they just don't have that same tension.
yeah, that's fair. I think I didn't get it. I think the older I get, the more I'm like, why would you go for the bad guy? Look at how much grief he's giving you. Is it really worth it?
I agree with you 100% about like if it was me, I would never like if I was the main character in the show, I would never go for like the bad boy or whatever, right? Like I would always go for like the main guy that she's supposed to be with. Like he's smart, he's funny, he's talented and all that stuff. And like what does the other guy do? Nothing except create tension and problems for her. Like it's unrational, but it's like I still like him. Like if for like a movie purpose, not for like a real
Mm,
life
that's
purpose.
fair. That's fair. Yikes.
Anyways, what is your beef of the week?
My beef of the week goes back to Krabby. What the hell, Krabby? Why did you call me out like that? Now I have a midlife crisis. After we watched the movie, he was like, oh, no, we were on the topic of Disney princesses. And he was like, I actually don't like any of them because they're all like, oh, save me. And I was like, dude, what the hell? Mulan? I fucking love Mulan. Like, she's my favorite. Or like Pocahontas. Like, and he was like, "Oh, yeah, but, like, I haven't even seen Mulan, and I don't think I need to." And I was like, "No, no, no, like, the live action you can forget, but the cartoon itself." And he was like, "Oh, yeah, I'm probably not gonna watch it." And I'm like, "This is a masterpiece. How could you do this to me? Like, you can insult me, you can insult my family, you can take my money, but you can't insult Mulan like this. How dare you?" Yeah, that's my beef of the week.
But even Tangled is she ends up saving him.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then Frozen, it's more about like Elsa saves her sister. So,
There's There's literally, like, so many iconic Disney princesses, like, modern day ones. Even, like, he did bring up, Brave, like, Merida,
yeah.
um, but he was like, "Yeah, like, Disney princesses are okay." So, I'm calling him out.
Like Mulan is iconic. She ends up saving the day. She brings honor to her family. She's just so strong and powerful and everything. And I love the whole like Shang part where he's like, "Oh, you're a girl," but he was like
Am I
okay with,
gay?
yeah. Like they're questioning like the internal turmoil that he probably had to go through to be like, "Oh my god, I'm gay," and then to find out that she's a girl, and he's like, oh, I
Yeah,
will also double your shout out to Prabby. How could you? How could you generalize Disney princesses like that without even watching all of them?
I take this personally.
Yeah, two thumbs down.
Yeah, do not recommend him.
Would not recommend to a friend.
Okay, moving on to our topic. So we're going to be talking about university, specifically our undergrad years. So Wanda, what program did you study and how long was your program?
So the program that I studied was a Bachelor of Computing from the University of Guelph because they didn't have a Bachelor of Computer Science, mostly because they didn't have the necessary amount of computer science courses for you to get a Bachelor of Computer Science. Anyways, I digress. It was a 5-year program because I did have a co op um, or multiple co ops in between.
Wait, for the viewers out there, what does I say for the viewers, I mean me. What does bachelor's of computing mean?
It's computer science light. So normally if
What?
you get a computer science degree, you get a bachelor of computer science or a bachelor of sciences. And that's what like Waterloo, U of T offers, but we didn't have that. So we have a made up program called the Bachelor of Computing that if you ever want to apply for a visa to the US, they don't necessarily recognize it as a legitimate computer science degree and you might have some issues. So keep that in
Yikes.
mind if you choose to go to Guelph for that program.
Yikes. So I went to school for an honors Bachelor of Commerce. Um, that just means business degree, and it's a 4-year degree. Um, there is an option for internship. I didn't take it because I was like, "Oh, I'm working every summer anyways for internships. What's the point?" What was it like in your program? Like, do you recommend it?
I think that ever since I started going there, there's been a lot of better changes that people within like the administration have made just because it's growing in popularity. But because it was computer science, there was a disproportional amount of men in comparison to women. I would say the program was 90% men, um, and probably 70% white men. Like no one was like even the popular and the cool crowd were still like nerdy white guys.
Was this Jordan? Is Jordan part of this popular nerdy crowd?
So I always say that like his group of friends that he had like throughout university always thought of themselves as like the popular group. Like they were the group that like was the in group or whatever. And I always used to make fun of him for that. And he would always just say that I was just jealous that I wasn't part of the group.
Slander, if the group is out there watching it.
So, what was your program like overall?
Um, I think you're right. I think, like, when I left, I think it got a little bit better. Um, I think when starting off, it was really weird. Like, I'm very, like, on the fence about stuff. Like, I didn't even think I wanted to go into business in the first place, but I had met with, like, a kind of like a career counselor who was, like, close to my family, and he was like, "All the stuff you like, lines up with business. Why are you trying to go into the sciences?" Um, so then switching to business, I still had, like, no idea what business is. I kept thinking it was accounting and finance, and I was like, "Oh, maybe I'll
Ugh.
just go into accounting, I guess." No, don't go into accounting. This is my recommendation to people, don't do it. Um, I think overall it was an okay program. Like, I went to McMaster University, and it's, like, a really great university if you're going into the sciences. Business is, like, it's, like, okay. The professors, some are great, some are not so great. Um, I think it's like what you're gonna find at a lot of business programs is the finance bros.
Mm.
And we do not stand the finance bros in this podcast. What they do is they glorify the movie Wolf of Wall Street. Almost every guy you meet is gonna have Leonardo DiCaprio as Jordan Belfort as his Facebook cover picture. Um, and they're just gonna be talking a lot about suits and a lot about finance. And watch out. I think maybe with a lot of schools too, there's always, like, that in crowd, and, like, they drink a lot, like, they party, they think they're, like, the cool ones, and the professors generally like them too. They're, like, the cool kids of the program, and, they're very into business or very into clubs. So if you're, like, not in that group, they do kinda make you feel a little bit excluded. Some of them are very nice, um, but generally I fit in well with the people who, like, didn't love business, who were like, "I'm here to get my degree. I'm like, I know what the point of this is. Like, I'm, like, okay with this. Like, I'm a normal human being." Those are the kind of people I fit in with, or the people who didn't love business. I think I fit in with those people very well.
Yeah, that's why we're
Um,
friends.
nice. We hate our programs.
Yeah.
It's not that I hated it, but I was like, I'm, like, okay with this program, like, I don't love it, like, it's weird to be like, "I would die for this program, I love it, this
Mhm.
is great." Like, I don't have that kind of school spirit. Maybe I just generally don't have school spirit in general. I think it was a good program, like, it got me my job. It has really great, like, networking opportunities,
Mhm.
and I think it's only grown more. I actually got, like, my first full-time job because of, like, a networking session I did in 3rd year, and I just, like, continued my networking, like, continued, like, staying in touch with that person, and then they offered me a job, which was phenomenal and great. But, even though I'm not into school spirit, I think, like, clubs, like, extracurricular activities was, like, the reason it made my undergrad, like, so enjoyable. Not necessarily, like, the studying and learning and everything. It's, like, the friendships I made, extracurriculars, it's all great. I paid close to 50,000 just for that. Great.
To make some friends, join some clubs.
Yeah, I mean, like, Can you say, like, you have a lot of takeaways from your learning?
Well, as a computer science
Oh
degree,
god, this is a bad question.
like, if even now, like, because I'm doing it like an MBA, I wouldn't say I have that many takeaways from business. Maybe, like, I'm a bit more technical with how I say things, and I understand business a little bit more, but, like, I wouldn't say I had that many takeaways from a business degree versus, like, something like a sciences. I think you can take more away from that.
Yeah, fair. I think with business, it's kind of like it feels like common sense, but they
Mhm,
just put it into theory, and it's like, "Oh, this is where I got the common sense from. This is where I learned the
mhm.
business practices." Um, and overall, it was just like I didn't I feel like the biggest takeaways from my university was, like and I think for MBA too, it's just networking.
Yeah,
Like, that's why business degrees cost so much. It's because you network, essentially. Like, you're
yeah.
paying for your connections.
I hate networking. I
I
I don't know how
You
you
get
do
to
it.
a point where you like it. Like, it's weird when you're like, "Oh, I need to get, like, a purpose out of this," but when
Mhm.
you're there to, like, genuinely figure out more about the company or, like, genuinely make connections, I think it's kind of fun.
I was reading an article for one of my management classes, and that's basically one of the keys of how to make networking more enjoyable or how to be better at, like, networking for it to be feel more genuine, is to not go in with a purpose, but to actually just, like, learning or, like,
Mhm,
opportunities or doors or whatever that it could potentially open.
mhm.
But
But, that took me a long time, I think, like, 4 years to finally understand, like, how to actually network. Because before I was like, "Ew, networking sessions? Gross. I feel, like, so greasy talking to all these people." And they probably feel, like, annoyed talking to me too, like, "I'm sorry, I'm just gonna go kill myself. I'm sorry to, like, be here." Um, but I think, like, it wasn't until maybe I was, like, close to getting my actual job that I was like, "Wait, networking is kinda fun." Like, "Oh my god, I have so many LinkedIn connections. Hit me up, guys. Like, DM me." JK. I think in university, I was way more ambitious. Like, I don't know about you, but the business program, it teaches you like, there's this weird, like, mindset that goes around, like, 40 hours, that's nothing. Like, you wanna do, like, 100 hours, you'll work shit, like, you'll hustle, you'll grind. So I was like, "Yeah, I'll do it." So anytime I had interviews and stuff, they're like, "What do you wanna make out of this?" And I was always like, "I don't know, like, 40,000." Like, salary's not a big deal to me. I'm like, "Wait a minute, salary is a big deal to me. This is super important, and I don't wanna, like, work 100 hours a week." Like, I already work a lot, so 100 hours, I would probably die. And so I think, like, university, you have very, like, unrealistic expectations of what you want, and now that I'm, like an okay, like, working person, I feel like my ambitions, they're still there, but they're, like, more realistic and not as bold now. So maybe if I were to go back to school, people would be like, "Oh, she's a loser because her ambitions are stupid and aren't as big as mine."
I part like, with my MBA, that's 100% true. Like, there are people who are willing to work, like, 60 hours, 80 hours a week, no problem, but, like, I've never been that type of person. I've never had that kind of ambition to work more than what I'm being paid to work. Like, of course, like, I'll do, like, 1 or 2 or, like, even 5 hours of overtime, maybe, like, once in a while, but I'm not the type to continuously work, like, 60 to 80 hours a week just to get the same salary as someone else.
Work smart, you know? Like,
Mhm.
I think it's unrealistic to be like, "I'm gonna work so many hours," especially at this age too. Like, I think work-life balance is super important. Um, like, you're gonna get burned out before you hit 30.
Yeah.
And,
Don't
like, do you really want that? You wanna look like you're 40 when you're, like, 25? Like, no. Come on,
don't let
people.
anyone tell you that work-life balance isn't important just because you're young, you don't have children, you don't have, like, responsibilities and everything. You should be taking care of yourself just as you would when you're 40. Like,
Yeah.
yes, you can work harder now because you do have less responsibilities, and if that's what you wanna do, then go for it, but also do not get shamed into doing like, working more than you should. Like, just because, like, your coworker has a family that they need to go back to, it doesn't mean that you always have to help them do something because they don't wanna put in the overtime to do it.
Yeah. Thank you. That was great. But back to university, how did you know you wanted to pursue this program?
Process of elimination, I guess. The other thing I would have done was probably, like, go to law school eventually, but then, like, you can do any undergrad and still go to law school, so it wasn't like a set in stone kinda thing. My mom's in computer science, so, like, I could think that influenced me. Mostly it's for the money. What is the kind of, like, the highest growing job opportunities and the highest paid, like, people usually say, like, computer science, right? And, I mean, you could also be a doctor, but I got squeamish around blood, so that my parents took that off the table pretty early on.
PBT to high school dissections. I would never dissect anything.
I was that was actually pretty fun because they didn't bleed. So, you kinda touched on it a little bit already, but, like, how did you choose your program?
Same thing with you, process of elimination. Since science was kind of ruled out for me, and I didn't really want to be a doctor, and also like I don't love math.
Mhm.
Um, so that was a little bit tricky. Also, I hate physics. Um, um, and then I was like, oh, maybe I'll do like the arts or something because I think I'm kind of a creative person. Um, but then I was like, ugh, I want to be employed. Business. There we go. It's like the perfect blend of arts and sciences.
Yeah.
So that's where I decided to take that route because I was like, I'm not going to be good at anything else. Let's just do this. I'm okay with like that choice. I think I do exhibit the qualities of a business person.
Mhm.
Um, not as extreme as I'd like to be, but, yeah, I think I was way more extreme. Like, I think I was very ambitious in school, but also I had like, university was, like, my first introduction to, like, actual mental health problems. I don't know about you, but, like, it was it was messed up times.
First comment, please keep in mind that we didn't have a lot of options, I guess, to choose from that would considered valid in the eyes of our parents.
Yes.
Um,
Also business. My parents did not like business. So even then, even choosing a program I was like, "Eh," about, they were like, "Ugh, why are you doing this?"
yeah, I don't now that I think about it, I don't even know if my mom would have let me go into, like, an undergrad business degree,
Yeah. I
but
mean, I got a job out of it,
yeah,
so
so
woohoo.
shame on them, and then you have your brother who's in engineering who still doesn't have a job yet, so
So take that, mom and dad.
yeah, who's really winning here? Other thing, the mental health thing, like, what happened?
Like, I think okay. So I had also messaged my friends too to get their first impression, but I think first year university was horrible for me. Like,
Mhm,
I also disclaimer, like, I commuted to school. I only lived like maybe 20 minutes away from my university. So I was like, yeah, I'll just like commute. It's no big deal. Um, Word of advice when you're in your first year, I think you should live in residence. I think
mhm.
it's a plus. Um, but I was just like, you know what? I don't have that kind of money. I'm just going to commute, whatever. But I think it was tough because I was just like, I didn't know anyone. Like the people I knew were from my high school, but like we didn't have the same schedules. So I was literally in a program where I knew no one. And I was going through like an identity crisis. And like, I think it really, like, shot down my confidence too. So, like, I was like, I think I like, when I was coming out of university, I was like, "Oh my god, like, I know everyone, I'm so extroverted, I'm so confident, like, everything's great." And it was, like, a complete 180 when I joined university. And I don't know what it was, like, I think over the summer or something, I got, like, really bad, like, body dysmorphia and, like, really bad yeah, like, really bad body dysmorphia. I genuinely thought, like, I was, like, the ugliest person alive. So, like, I didn't make any effort to dress and stuff, and I let people say stuff to me that I was like, "Why did I let people, like, say this shit to me?"
Like
Like,
what?
they would just say things to me like, "Oh, like, you're kind of fat." Like, more
Like
than 2
friend?
people would say this to me. There was, like, people I thought were my friends,
Oh,
but they were
damn.
always guys, and also because I didn't join any clubs. So, like, that didn't help at all, and because, like, I can't focus on one thing, I need to have, like, a lot of things going on. Call this ADHD. I don't know, I'm not diagnosed. But, yeah, so, like, that was really tough, and then 2nd semester, I think, like, seasonal depression, like, hits you really hard,
Mhm,
so that's when, like, I stopped going to classes, like, I stopped caring, I was just, like, laying in bed, like, 24/7. I was like, "Oh my god, is something wrong with me?" Like, I have, like, no will to do anything. I don't care about anything anymore,
mhm.
and this would continue, like, 4 years. So this happened to you too, like, the seasonal depression?
100%, especially in first year, it hit very hard, like, I would just not get out of bed for anything.
Yeah, and that, like, genuinely scared me, and the fact that it happened, like, every 4 year like, every year, like clockwork, I was like, "Holy shit, is something wrong with me? Like, what is this?" And I was genuinely afraid this would happen, like, after, like, I finished school, and I was like, "Oh my god, like, I'm starting work now, like, I need to, like, show up to work, I can't lay in bed." But, like, it was perfectly fine, like, it was a little bit bad, but not too bad. So I'm like, "Oh, so school was the issue here."
Yeah. I kinda had something, I guess, similar, I guess. So in comparison, I lived on campus because Guelph is at least like a 45-minute drive away from where my home is, and it was hard, like so no one really from my high school went to the same school I did, and I kind of did that on purpose because I wanted to be like, "Oh, I wanna break out of my shell, I'm going to go meet new people," like, I'm kind of forcing myself to meet new people again like I did in high school. But, like, it didn't go like, I did meet some people, and I'm, like, still, like, friends with them and everything, but it was just, like, rough. Like, living with a roommate that you didn't really like was rough, like, especially when you're in a room that's probably, like, 3 meters wide and 3 meters
Ugh.
long. Like, you don't really have a lot of personal space. So, like, I try to get out of my room as much as possible, and at the same time, I also skipped a lot of class. Like, I never wanted to go to class. Um, I still really don't, but, I do it. Like, I don't skip class anymore because 'cause I'm like, "I'm paying for this, I need to go." But
Ah,
I
growth.
yeah, I know, right? So, like, it was hard because it's like I didn't really get along with anyone in res. So, like, whenever I had the chance, I'd go to, like, um, another, like, university and hang out with, like, my friends there instead of, like, staying at my own. Did a lot of drinking, partying, and also because you're on campus and you have no one telling you to not eat bad food, and Guelph has one of the best on-campus food out of all the universities in Canada, I gained like 15, 20 pounds in like my first semester. And
Ah,
so,
freshman 15.
yeah, like I got to a point where it's like none of your clothes fit anymore. Like it's real. Like freshman 15 is very real and it's very hard to like overcome because like Maggie said, like the seasonal depression hits, you don't want to get out of bed, you don't want to exercise, you don't even want to go like outside of the building, take a shower or anything. Like it's like it sucks.
It's bad, yeah.
Yeah. And it did come like it got better year after year, but it did come back and like there would just be like certain periods of time like around the same month that where I'd just be like, wow, I really don't want to do anything. Like I don't feel like I can do anything. Like I don't even feel like I want to get up and stuff. And it's just like you don't really know why. Yeah, I don't have that anymore. Even though I'm still kind of like in school. Maybe like a master's is just like slightly different.
I think maybe it was, like, burnout too because, like, you're focusing so much on school, like, it's a lot of school, like, it's
Hmm.
24/7 on top of your mind. So, like, you can only do that for so long before you're gonna break. And on top of that too, because you had co-ops, like, I was always looking for a summer internship, like, it was a lot you had to be doing, like, studying, and then,
Hmm.
like, put studying on hold, go to interviews, like, that kinda thing. It's, like, constant go, go, go. Like, there's no really a real rest. And even
Yeah.
when you do rest, you're, like, drinking or, like, doing something insane.
Yeah.
It's like, how are you alive as a human being?
It it's honestly insane because I was one of those people who didn't really stay up all night, like, I didn't really pull all-nighters, maybe I did, like, 1 or 2 max in university, but even then, like, I felt like if k like, I was always sleep deprived in some way or another.
Feel that one. What was the craziest thing you ever did in university?
Um, so this is probably not that crazy in comparison to, like, other people's stories, but as soon as I turned 19 and it was frosh week and, like, I had, like, roommates that I lived with, I went out drinking, like, 4 times a week for, like, a whole month, maybe, like, 2 months. So I shouldn't say frosh week, frosh months, I guess.
Second year of university.
Yeah, so shout out to downtown Guelph, but on Mondays and Thursdays, it was dollar beer because they don't have as much traffic, right? Like on Mondays and Thursdays in comparisons to like Fridays and Saturdays. So I think to drive traffic, they made it such that it was like dollar beers, and like on Thursdays it was like 250 or 275 Jaeger bombs. And that was amazing because like everyone would go out when you go out drinking Monday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. You really have to pick
On
up
a
time
weekday.
management. So like mm, yes, and like I did learn a lesson from it. I am better at time management because of it.
Nice.
But I also learned to not do that because my body could no longer take it. And that's when I was like, oh my God, I'm aging.
Literally the one time no, I think it was, like, when we went, like, on a Montreal trip. I'm, like, not a big drinking person. Um, I don't choose to be like that, it's my body can't take it. Like, my body will literally die after, like, 1, like, shot or something. Um, so the one time I did do, like, 3 consecutive days of drinking, like, my body shut down. Like, I just had, like, a mental breakdown. Um, and I was, like, sobbing. I was like, "No, I can't do this anymore. I need to go home." Also me, goes out the next day drinking.
It's
Um,
hard. Like your body, like
yeah,
you sometimes it's like you're hungover until you have your next like drink. And it's like, oh, okay. This is not
yeah.
alcoholism. It never got that far. I had a control on it. But I also did gain more weight because of how much I was drinking.
Do you think university set you up for success? Your university did?
Um Yes and no, I guess. Like there's certain parts of it, like I mentioned, like the classes were okay. Um, Not really like a lot of networking opportunities and everything. Maybe not university itself, but I remember like in second year where like I found out one of my courses, like I was 100% sure I was going to like fail it. And then like I was like crying in my room because I was like, "Oh my god, like I'm gonna fail this course. I'm gonna have to take it again and everything." And that's I think when I like stepped up my game, where I was like, "I'm gonna drink a lot less. I'm gonna like focus on schoolwork. I'm going to like dedicate myself." And like that was like a complete 180, yeah, to know who I was before, who was the person who like always skipped class, always like prioritized fun over like studying and everything. And like after that point and after like passing that class, barely, but passing, I was like, okay, like now I'm gonna like hardcore focus on studying. So maybe like university both gave me the freedom to have that like moment of like that reality check of like
Mm.
what am I doing with my life. So I guess like university helped me there, like it kind of gave me the whole like I don't know, it cleared my head. It gave me like what was like it helped me learn what responsibilities are, and it helped me like prioritize my life better and like learn more about time management. So in that way, like the soft skills really like I think kicked in university rather than I would say like anything that I learned in particular.
I echo that. I think I never did anything, like, super crazy, like, I wish that was me, but it's not. Um, but I think, like, generally, like, at home, I'm, like, a very responsible person, like, I'm the one to, like, clean, like, whatever, like, someone needs me there, like, I'm there. So, because I was commuting, like, I didn't have enough time, so, like, it was a lot of, like, tension in my family because they're like, "Oh my god, like, Maggie, you're, like, never around anymore, all you do is, like, go with out with your friends or, like, do other things," and I'm like, "No, this time is me commuting, like, it's not fun, people," and, like, they didn't understand that, so, I think and, like, my problem too was because, like, I I wasn't setting, like, realistic expectations. Like, I didn't like, I thought I could do everything, so I would say yes to everything, and,
Mhm,
like, that's gonna cause you to break down.
mhm,
Um, so I think, like, yeah, time management was a huge thing too, and, like, self-care is also very important. Like, I still don't really practice self-care as much as I should, but I think it's super important, especially when you're actually of any age. I think self-care is important. Like, you need to budget time for yourself or else
mhm,
you're gonna crack. University really teaches you those where it puts those skills into practice. Like, no one's gonna tell you to do these things, like, they might, but you really won't learn until you do it yourself.
mhm,
Like, it's not realistic to say you're only going to study, not join clubs. You need to, like, set goals, like, "I'm going to join a club, I'm gonna do this group work, I'm going to study, like, I'm gonna go with my friends." Like, it's like a sample of what real life is. It's like a simulation of what the
mhm,
real world is. Um, so I think in that perspective, university set me up for success because, again, I am very not the type of person to have one goal. I like
Yeah.
having a lot of goals. I like doing a lot of things. So be realistic, people. Watch what you say yes to. Try everything once, is what I would say, but don't
Mhm.
say yes to everything.
Yeah. Some things you don't need to try once, like cocaine.
Yeah, like we haven't tried Coke. We can tell you you probably don't need to.
Yeah. That's our advice. Thanks for watching.
How is life now compared to your undergrad? I mean, you're still in school, but like, how is life now?
Yeah, I think, like, first year of my master's was, like, pretty tough. Like, I would have class from 8:30 to 4:30, Monday to
Ugh.
Thursday, and then it was like high school all over again, right? But longer and harder, and the people sucked more. Um, and on Fridays, we'd often have to come in for, like, events that we had to do, or, like, conferences, or, like, teachings, and just, like, things that you didn't shouldn't have been mandatory but were mandatory. So, like, that was really rough, but I still was able to balance, like, going to the gym 4 or 5 times a week, and, like, still get everything done. Definitely for the self-care part, I echo that. Like, even though in undergrad I had a lot more, like, I got better at time management and everything. It wasn't until, like, 5th year of undergrad and, like, 1st year and 2nd year now of my MBA that I'm really practicing self-care. Like, this semester, I try to not do work, Saturdays and Sundays, because, like, I want to actually take time off for myself and do things that, like, I wanna do. So, for example, this podcast. So Sunday is podcast day, and it's when I edit the podcast, film the podcast, and everything. So that's like one day dedicated to myself. And then, like, on Saturdays, like, I'll do something else, something like else that is fun. But then, like, Monday to Friday, I have classes, I go to the gym, I do, like, schoolwork, homework, and everything like that. So, like, it feels like I'm working like a 9 to 5 job almost. Like, I'm compartmentalizing my life into, like, different days so that even though, like, I'm still in school and I still have homework to do, it's not like drifting into, like, me time as well.
No, that's good. It's like the real world, but your
Yeah.
master's.
Yeah. I'm just like I'm just trying to get into, like, good habits and everything. Like, so I have, like, group members who have no idea how I can get work done faster than they do, because I don't wake up until, like, 10, 11 every single day, and I don't really start working until, like, 11:30 at least. But I do stay up later than some of them. So maybe I'm just, I guess, better at being productive the times that, yeah, I think that's the thing. If you have certain days where you don't wanna do work, you start to be more productive on the days that you do work. So, because you're like, "Oh, I wanna make sure I have the weekend free," you're like, "Okay, so then I need to finish this first." And then, like, I wanna
Uh,
finish it quickly so that I can have those days free. Like, this doesn't always work. You're gonna have those days where you fall off the wagon. Like, this week, I spent a lot of times watching TV on Thursday and Wednesday and Friday, such that I didn't really get a lot of work done, but, like, that's okay still. Like, you can make, like, a Saturday, like, a work day. Like, you don't have to, that's the one of the biggest issues with, like, planning and everything is that when people fall off the plan, they think that it's the end of the world. It's not. Like, you just have to shift it. You can move it to another day. Like, just because you fell off one day doesn't mean you have to, like, immediately, like, just stop your entire plan. Just, like, work around it, move it around, kinda thing. You can still have your you days and everything, but, like, don't overload yourself with, like, that anxiety and that stress from just missing one day.
that's really great advice. Yeah, be resilient. I think that, like, goes back to university too. Like, if you skip one lecture, like, make sure you go to the next one. Like, you that doesn't mean, like, you can't go anymore because you're behind. Like, it was one day. Just keep going. I would say life after university, it's pretty, excuse my French, fucking fantastic. Um, like, yeah, it's weird after you graduate, because you're like, "Oh, like, my friends are still in school." Like, you had this kind of bubble around you where you're
Mhm.
"Oh, like, I'm too busy to, like, do this, like, I got stuff to do, like school, like clubs, like, that kind of thing." You miss the excitement of it, but it's just FOMO. It's just Stockholm syndrome, guys. Don't let it deter you The real world is amazing compared to university. I'm sorry, like, my mom kept telling me, like, "Oh, you're gonna wish you were still in university after this, like, you have to pay taxes, you have to do real world stuff, like, have fun with this." And I'm like, "This is amazing. This is, like, so much better than university." Like, yes, you still have, like, work and stuff to do, like, you have priorities, but it's like, you don't have 5 courses to study at one time. Now it's like, I got work, and then I can compartmentalize, and I'm being paid to work, where at school,
Mhm.
I'm paying to do this. Um, and, like, that's always 24/7, like, I have to pull all-nighters and stuff. With work, I maybe pull an all-nighter, like, once a year, and even then, that's my own fault. Um, so I say life after school, pretty great.
I think it really depends on the person too,
Yes, that
and,
is
like,
true.
opportunities and everything.
That is a very good point. I am very privileged. I
Yeah,
think my job is great, or it's okay. Um, it changes from week to week. Um,
but that's
but I
normal.
think, yeah, I think it's like a work life balance. I think in university, when you get a problem, you're supposed to suck it up and take it.
Mhm,
But in the real world, it's like, wait, you have a voice here. If the dean doesn't listen to you, you can go to HR.
mhm.
um, I mean, I guess like you can do that at school too. But I think like people, another thing, working with people is way better after university. Because people are like, "I could get fired for this. There are consequences." But in school, people are like, "I don't give a fuck about this course. You could do all the work you want. I'm doing nothing."
That is okay, so when profs are always like, "Oh, I'm setting you up for success in the workplace. I'm just trying to emulate what it'd be like in a workplace when you're in university," right? But I always say that if this was a real life situation, there are real life consequences. So we have people like plagiarizing directly word from word from like different documents and stuff. We have people not doing their work and then you having to cover for them, but like nothing happens to them. Like I've literally sent an email to a prof being like, "Hey, this guy does nothing." And I've talked to him about it and he still does nothing. And like the best that she could offer was, "I'll go talk to him or you can like rate him on the peer evaluation." But like that's not going to drop his mark. That's not going to make him do anything, right? Like there's nothing that you can really do. Like if someone slacks off, you as the other team members are just at a disadvantage. Nothing really happens to them until they get to the real world where they might like actually face consequences for their actions, which is bullshit. It's give students like ways to deal with conflict and make sure they like know how to properly, I guess, talk to people and stuff. But at the same time, like if someone's not doing work, kick them out of the group, fail them out of the course, like make them do the assignment themselves, like have
Retweet.
consequences for actions. And like I don't understand when professors say that, "Oh, like I'm emulating real life," because you're not.
Yeah. PVT, group projects. Yeah, group projects are way better after you're done school. Like, I've rarely dealt with a coworker who, like, did nothing. The first week of class, like, your first priority is to figure out who's not gonna be waste from
Yeah.
judging people. That's why you have to dress nicely for the first week of classes, guys, so you don't look waste. Like, you don't wanna look too nice, but you also don't wanna look too waste.
Yeah.
There's a difference there. So then you want people to approach you to ask you to join your groups, like, "Yes."
My progression of university was like I dressed nicely, did my makeup in like first year and second year, to slowly wearing sweatpants every single day for class in fifth year.
Like, in high school, I was like, "Ew, I would never wear sweatpants to school." And university every single day, like, I wear the same
Mm,
sweatpants,
yeah.
same sweater.
I don't think I even owned more than like 2 pairs of sweatpants before I got into university, and now, like, I probably have, like, 10 different pairs of sweatpants.
Okay, so we are answering the internet's questions, about university, because we are definitely pros. We've only gone through university once, but combined, that is 2 times. Okay, so what is the best thing about being a university student? You go first.
The discounts that you get. So, a lot of places have student discounts for if you show your student card. We have, like, a student price card here, which is $10, and you get discounts on a bunch of stuff that like food and clothing and stuff, and like you think it's $10 and you think it's not worth it, but it really adds up. And also, if you live in a university town, grocery stores usually have like 10% off for like Tuesdays or Wednesdays during the week so that you can save on your groceries as well. Probably not what you were expecting.
No, it really wasn't. Um, I think the best thing about being a university student is using that university student card. I think, like, not knowing anything and being absolutely stupid is the best thing about being a university student.
Hmm.
Like, you can really use it to your advantage, like, networking, like, asking for help. And I know that sounds very open-ended, but just trust me, like, it's different.
So based on what you're saying, I agree with that. Like same with the workplace too. Like if you're a co-op student or like an intern and you're in a university, like don't be scared to ask questions or to make mistakes because people expect it from you because you're in university. It's like when you're the lowest of the low on the totem pole, right? So people don't expect the best from you and this is the best time to be able to make mistakes.
Yeah. I really don't like the professors who I've had professors before who will just, like, shoot down anything I say. They're like, "That was stupid. Why would you say that?" And I think that's such a horrible learning environment, and it really does not encourage, like, your degree. Like, you're supposed to be thinking outside the box here.
Hmm.
Like, this is what university, like, higher education is, and you're gonna tell people that was stupid? Like,
Yeah.
so wrong. There's so many business profs were like that, and,
Still is.
like
Some just shoot you down because it doesn't fit their narrative.
yeah, which is very stupid. And I'm gonna fight them all. Like, line count your days. Your days are numbered, buddy, because of these fists. Meet Wanda and Maggie.
Oh, you named a fist after me?
Other words, what is the worst part about being a university student?
I think it's the amount of freedom you get. Um, like school doesn't really set you up for how to take care of yourself when you're living out on your own. So then you have people who don't know how to do laundry or cook anything other than like mac and cheese and ramen. They don't know how to like eat or like maintain like a healthy diet and drink water and all of those things. So you all like the worst part, I guess, is being thrown into all this responsibility so quickly and not knowing what to do.
I think there's a lot of bad things about being a university student. One is like, I feel like people don't respect you as much.
Yeah.
Like, I know my family definitely did. If I was like, I'm studying right now, like, little respect. They're like, "Okay, like, you can study another time. Like, shouldn't you know this by now? Why are you studying?" Two-part question here. Is university better than high school, and what did you wish you knew, before starting
I
university?
think university is better than high school. Like you get so much more freedom in comparison to high school. So I lived on campus and I lived in the city when I wasn't living on campus after first year. So you get to make like your own decisions. You get to not have to tell anyone where you're going because even now, like now that I'm back living at home, I have to go tell my mom like, "Hey, I'm going to go out with blah and blah." And then she'll be like, "Oh, what time are you coming home?" Like I have to tell her what time I'm coming home. Like even though when I was by myself, I had no one to answer to. Like, it's such a weird, like, going from living with by myself to coming back and living at home, you go from being like an adult or feeling like an adult to going back to being a child.
Mm,
Like, you have to
yeah.
answer for everything again, and, like, that was high school, right? You always had to tell your parents where you were going for a good reason because you are 14 to, like, 18 years old, but to come back at, like, 22, 23, it's weird and it's something that you have to like get used to. So freedom, amazing. What do I wish that I knew before I started university? Eat better and drink more water. And don't drink so much alcohol that you start to gain weight from alcohol. So like healthy balanced diet, don't eat so much just because you have like a meal plan or something. You don't need to spend unless you have to. You don't need to spend all of your money on food. Sometimes like most universities let you carry that over for like a fee and everything. Oh, don't buy textbooks new. Um, first, go see if you can find a textbook online for free. If you can't do that, go to your like university like trade whatever website that like allows you to like buy secondhand from other students, do that before you buy from a university bookstore or buy
Retweet.
anything from a university bookstore, because complete ripoffs. A pen is like $6 there, where you can get like a pack of pens for like 30 cents in the real world outside of campus. So like don't let convenience steer you away from getting a good deal.
Buying and selling used textbooks has taught me more than my 4-year undergraduate business degree did.
How to
Supply and demand, people.
negotiate.
Yeah. It's a huge thing. I still have a couple textbooks actually, and I'm like, damn it, like I should have just sold them. Like I got too greedy. Don't fly too close to the sun. That's another thing.
Yeah, if anyone's looking for an accounting textbook, I still have mine. So willing to sell it for a fair price. Just reach out to
Ah,
me.
did the additions change? That's the real
Ugh.
question here.
Okay, that's the other thing. You don't need to buy the newest textbook just because the edition changed. It is very rare that they change that much from each edition. Like the most they'll do is change the chapters around or like change a few words such that they can call it a new edition. Like if it's a business textbook, like it's not going to change year from year. Maybe for science it's a little bit different if there's like a new discovery in this field or something has been debunked, like Pluto's no longer a planet. Um, but for business, things don't change that quickly. We're still using a lot of the things that people researched in like the 1990s.
Yeah. Also, I'm not recommending Library Genesis. It is not a good site to download books and textbooks. Don't do it. I completely agree. University is way better than high school. And yeah, like I went through a lot of shit, but it's still like way better. Like you get a lot more freedom. Um Also the worst part about being a university student too is also I think the freedom. Like you have a lot of expectations, like unrealistic expectations set on yourself that are mostly other no, are mostly yourself, but it's like other people expect it from you too. Like you're expected to balance a lot. And you can't help but compare yourself to like your friend or something who seems to be balancing it way better. Um so I think university, like I think people weren't as open about their failures. Or
Mhm.
no, I take it back. People were super open about their failures, or they're like, "Oh, like, yeah, I pulled all-nighter." It's like it's becomes like a weird comparison, like a flex game where you're like, "I just pulled an all-nighter." Like, "I've just drank, like, so much coffee. I pulled I pulled, like, A even though I pulled an all-nighter and, like, studied for 2 hours." Like, "Good for you. That's not good for me. I'm not gonna study for 2 hours. That's I can't do that. I'm not a genius."
Yeah, I think we
Um,
might have talked about this before too, where like I hate that stereotype. I hate the people who say like, "Oh, I slept for 2 hours," and then someone tries to beat you being like, "Oh, I only slept for 1 hour," and someone's like, "Oh, I haven't slept in 72 hours," kind of thing. Like
like,
sleep is
don't
important.
Yeah, it is actually very helpful, like, when you're trying to lose weight or, like, anything, like, it's impertinent to your health. Please sleep properly, and even though I sleep only, like, 5 hours a night, I'm trying, guys, I swear. Yeah, my Fitbit thinks I'm, like, messed up right now, um,
In
and I kind of
house,
am.
I don't know if this is true or not, but they say that the longest person who's ever lived without sleep or like sleeping is for 11 days, because you need sleep for your cells to regenerate. So essentially, you're getting dumber if you don't sleep.
This explains so much, I'm so stupid right now.
Yeah, just go to sleep. Don't wait till the last minute to study for things. Like, don't go proving to other people that you don't need to study, kind of thing. So, Jordan's the type of person in university who basically left everything to the last minute because he could just do it. And then he would drink like Red Bulls and Monsters to stay up all night to do things. And then
Weak.
he would run on like 2 hours of sleep. And then he'd be like, "Oh, but I'm functioning so well. Like everything's fine and everything. And I should like sleep less more often." So then like the behavior just like kept on like continuing. And he was like the type that really like he internalized information a lot better than I could. So like the professor will explain it and he usually gets it the first time. Well, like for me, I had to like read it myself like before and afterwards to like really understand it to be able to be like tested on it. So you're going to have people with different learning styles in university. So if someone's like, oh, I studied for like 12 hours, like you don't need to be ashamed to want to study.
But also, I didn't learn that until like very late. Like, I am also like the exact same type of person. I also left things to the last minute. Like, I just had so many other things, and like my priorities and studying habits were really bad.
Mm-hmm.
I would say up until like third and fourth year university, I was like, oh, now I know how to study. um, and like I did so many all nighters. Even like my very last semester, I think the week I was supposed to like be done school, I still pulled an all nighter for a paper. And I was like, what the hell am I doing? But I didn't rely on Red Bull or Monster because I think that shit is gross. I relied on my anxiety to keep me up. So take that, Jordan. What I like to do when I prioritize, figure out like which is, I mean, everyone does this, but like which is due first, which can I do the quickest, which is going to require like the least amount of effort, and then make my way down.
Yeah.
Try to do like there's a lot of hours in the day. I know I am very hypocritical because I often tweet that there's not enough hours in the day, but I think like yeah, I think it just comes down to like how you time manage things, which I think is a lesson too you will learn from university.
Maggie's just tweeting that for the laughs and tweeting it to be relatable. The other thing is like everyone studies differently. So like what works for your friend might not work for you as well.
Yeah, exactly.
You're different
Um
people.
Yeah. You're gonna find that out in university. You're also gonna find out who your real friends are.
Yeah.
Again, don't let people say shit to you. I let people say so many shitty things to me, and like I beat myself up every day because I'm like, why did I take that? Like, I can't believe I let people like I barely knew say these things to me. Don't do it. Don't take shit from anyone. Like you're your own person. Like nothing's gonna happen to you for speaking out. Like defend yourself. You're priority number one.
Mm-hmm.
We love you. We care for you, but we are priority number one. You are. So moving on to our next segment, truth or lie. So what's gonna happen is we're gonna put our friendship to the test. We're gonna read out some things that may have happened to us in university or may not have happened to us. And we're gonna figure out if that was a truth or a lie. So we're each going to get 3 questions to ask before we do our final guess, up to 3 questions. So we're each going to come up with some situations and take some turns. Okay, so Wanda, you go first. Read out your first situation.
Okay. So my Domino's delivery driver delivered me a pizza at 2 a.m. and then messaged me on Tinder the next day. Truth or lie?
What did you order from Domino's?
Hawaiian. I'm a pineapple gal.
Me too. Oh my god, we're soulmates. What time did he message you?
I don't know.
Wait, I take that question back.
This
Um,
was a long time ago, man.
wait. Were you already matched beforehand?
Yes. You can't message someone if you're not matched beforehand unless
Yeah, I don't know if you like went on Tinder and then you saw him that night, but so you already met, so you recognize each other.
is that a question?
Yes.
Okay. I came out from a night out that night, so I was pretty intoxicated and I had ordered the pizza because that's just what you do. So I didn't recognize him really. I just saw like a white figure in the doorway who gave me
Ominous.
my pizza. And then the next day, I was just like, oh, okay, this picture could look like him.
Damn it, I used up my 3 questions. I have another one. Why did I ask such stupid questions?
What was your fourth question?
What did he message you?
Hey, I think I delivered you a pizza last night.
Oh, that's so stupid. I'm gonna say true because of how stupid that was.
You don't think I would make up a stupid lie?
I mean, like maybe, but it sounds like something that would happen to you.
Yeah, that did happen to me.
Ah, I knew it.
It was so weird. And then like I was like, "Oh, did you?" And he's like, "Yeah, I also delivered your roommate a pizza at 4 a.m." And I was like, "Wow, okay."
Oh my god, now he knows where you live.
Yeah.
Did you guys like go out?
No, that was the end of that conversation.
Oh, great.
Okay, you go.
Okay. The first class I failed was in my first year semester, and it was an accounting class.
When did you end up retaking the class?
I retook it during summer. So I took it summer school. I got my first summer internship, and then I would drive in the evening to Mac to retake that course
Why did you do better the second time?
because I knew the material.
Why did you fail the first time?
Because I didn't know how to study. These are like Reasonable questions, but also bad
Yeah,
questions.
I don't know, like, how what to ask about it to ascertain if it's, like, true or not. I think it's true.
It is a lie. I have never failed a course.
Oh, damn. Because I remember you saying that you retook something, but then it might have just been because you dropped it before you, like, failed it or something, so that it didn't count. I swear you took first year econ in, like, 4th year or 3rd year or something because you were like, or, like, you took some class, some first year class later because you were like, "Oh, I dropped it because I."
Oh, so I was pursuing a health studies minor, and then I was like, "Wait a minute, I hate health studies. Why am I taking these courses? They're like this, they're doing like so worse than like my normal courses." So I dropped it, and then I took a first year communications course in my 4th year. And fun fact, it was my first A plus. Was that a weird flex that I was like, I took a first year course and I got an A plus?
Yeah, when did you take that course?
The first year one?
Yeah.
My last semester of 4th year.
Yeah. I think that isn't much of a flex.
But also, I'm like concerned why you think I failed a course. Like,
Because I swear, like, I've heard you talk about, like, doing a first year course later.
yeah, communications,
Yeah, but,
not
like,
accounting. But I
if
did like almost fail like first year accounting, to be fair. That was like my lowest mark I've ever got. You're next.
So my old boss bought me my first legal drink when I turned 19. Not very university related, but I was 19, so I was in university.
Was this on your actual birthday?
No, I think my birthday was over the weekend or something, so I think this was on maybe like a Friday.
What drink did he buy you?
A pina colada.
Did you like it? Wait, I don't want this to be a question.
The drink?
Um,
Or did I like my boss buying it for me?
oh, in what setting was this?
What does that mean?
Like, where did he buy this for you? Was it just you two? Like, were you at to lunch, dinner? What is this?
It was a team lunch. Wow, that could have gone real weird for a second.
Yeah. So I'm glad we don't have to cancel your old employer.
Yeah.
Um, I am going to say, no. I'm gonna say it's a lie.
You are wrong.
Ah,
It's
shit! Damn it! I
it's the
thought I bought you
truth.
your first legal drink.
No, I actually have, like, a picture from that day too. Um, so I guess I was, like, really tight-knit with that team. We went to Pickle Barrel, downtown Toronto, which that place held a very special place in my heart for a really long time because of it, but then the food got really bad, and I think
Because
now.
of your first pina colada. That's why I
No,
had a special. The bar is low here, people.
it was it was a good pina colada, and I had a really good burger. It was a turkey avocado burger, and it was really amazing, but then the next time I went back, they took it off the menu, and I was devastated because it was a really good burger.
Okay, so my situation is, in my 3rd year of university, I was studying in the silent section. I took a nap and I rubbed my eyes, and then the next day I had pink eye.
Oh, I thought it was gonna be like you farted and be like, "Ah." Go
Elementary school repeats itself.
Yeah. Maggie really does not know how to hold in her gas. Did anyone else have pink eye?
No, not that I was aware of.
Did you go to the doctor?
Yes, that is how I was diagnosed with pink
I
eye.
don't know, maybe you self-diagnosed pink eye. How did it affect your life? Like, did you still go to class and work and everything?
No, I stayed home because I was like, "Oh my god, I have pink eye. This is gross."
I think it's true.
This is true.
I
That's
need
so funny.
I need more to the story.
Um, I don't know what else there is to say. I was studying the silent section and I rubbed my eye and got pink eye.
I don't understand, like, how?
I don't know. Like this was like pre-COVID, so like I mean, I didn't wash my hands like after I touched everything. Um, so I guess I had just like touched a lot of things that day and I was like waking up, rubbed my eye, proceeded to study again. And then I went to the doctor and I was like, "Hey, like something's going on with my eye. I don't think it's pink eye though." And the doctor was like, yeah, it is." And he's like, "Have you been around children or something? Like this is usually how you get it at this age." And I was like, "No, I haven't at all." And he's like, oh, okay. So I'm like, fuck, now he thinks I'm a really unsanitary person. Yeah, that's how I got pink eye in 3rd year.
This just goes back to the whole like universities are, or like schools in general, are just cesspools of germs.
Yeah, they're pretty gross.
Sometime in university, I don't remember when, discovered that I had a third nipple like Harry Styles.
What do you mean, like same location, or like is he the OG of the third nipples?
Uh well, he's OG for me because I didn't know they were a thing until Harry Styles talked about it. And that counts as a question, by the way.
At what age did you discover this, and how?
So there was always like I always had a mole, I guess, like on my chest. And like, but it was not like a regular mole. It was a cool mole. No, I'm kidding. It just like it felt different than my other moles and everything. And I couldn't really like figure out what it was until like he said it. And then like one day, like something clicked inside my brain and I was like, oh, that's what it is.
Who else knows about this third nipple?
Well, you
Well,
now. Um, and I think I told Jordan.
I think this is a lie.
It is true.
What? No
Yeah,
way.
I do. But you're never gonna see it because it's like mostly covered up. It's right under my left boob. So it will
Oh,
get,
no wonder.
yeah.
'Cause
So like you're never gonna see it because it's like it's always gonna get covered by a bathing suit or a bra or anything like that.
ah. Okay,
Yeah.
because I was gonna say, I've seen you in a bathing suit, and, like, I just Googled Harry Styles' third nipple. I'm like, that doesn't seem like a location where your nipple would
Where
be.
is his?
It's like, oh, also right under his left, I guess?
Oh my god, me and Harry Styles are soul sisters.
How do we know you and Harry Styles aren't the same person? I've never seen you guys in the same room.
This just in breaking news. I am
Wanda
Harry
is
Styles.
British white man.
I just moonlight as an Asian female to run this podcast.
And we really appreciate you for it. So, a student once asked if I was a TA and then proceeded to hit on me.
What year was this?
This was 1st year, the first time I ever dressed business formal for a presentation.
Why would a TA be in business formal all the time, personally? Um, what did he say to you to like hit on you?
He said, "Oh, hey, are you the TA for this class?" And I said, "No." And he said, "Oh, well, I think you're really cute. Like, can I get your number?"
Was he attractive enough such that you gave him your number? Or I guess no,
I
what was your response to him?
I lied and said, "Sorry, I have a boyfriend."
I think it's a lie.
This is a lie, but someone did mistake me for a TA.
I think it's the response part that cute like clued me in.
My response was, "Sorry, I have a boyfriend."
Yeah, I think you'd be a lot more awkward in that situation. I'm sorry.
What do you think I'd say? No.
No, but I feel like you'd be like, I don't know. I feel like you'd just be more awkward about it. Like it doesn't like I don't know. Like I think you handled it too well.
You'd be like, no, sorry, I have to leave."
Yeah. Yeah, that seems more like a Maggie first year response.
That's so funny. But actually, I was in the bathroom and I was actually in like business formal stuff. And this girl came up to me and she's like, "Hey, are you a TA? Like, do you know where to get to this room? Like, also, are you my TA?" And I said, "No, I don't know who you are. Like, I'm in 1st year." And she was like, "What? You're in 1st year? Oh my God, I thought you were a TA. Like, I'm in 1st year." I'm like, okay, calm down, people. I get it. I'm old.
Yeah, cute identity crisis.
Yeah, that was rough.
That's funny though. I like she was so aggressive in the bathroom.
Like, please, I'm just trying to wash my hands.
Yeah.
Wow.
Damn. Those were good. Yours were more university related. Mine was just like in the realm of university age. Well, that is truth or lie, Maggie and Wanda style.
I'll take pics of Wanda's third nipple next time.
Oh my god.
JK, JK.
Thanks for joining us today. We don't know who won truth or lie because we're terrible at keeping score. But the question or questions of the week is, did you have a similar university experience? Was university the best years of your life? We hope not.
Yeah.
But
It gets way better after university, guys. Like,
yeah, we hope it got better for you.
yeah.
Anyways, like always, like us, subscribe, listen to us wherever you get your podcasts, watch us on YouTube for the full effects, and like us on wherever you get your social media because Maggie works really hard to develop clout and we need to support her because we're all about support on this podcast.
Yeah.
Thanks for
Also
listening.
me. I don't care about social media. Also me. Follow us on social media.
Well, we're hypocrites. So,
Yeah.
thanks for listening again this week.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.